We're all stewards and caretakers of a very special place.
There's a feeling, and you know when you feel it, hard to describe it. Interlachen has that feeling.
Interlachen is such a classic, such a traditional, such a, it's just a memorable course in so many ways.
When you turn off of Interlachen Boulevard and you see to your right, you see this great golf course and the meandering hills, and it's just, it's incredible.
It's just its timeless beauty.
The sole intent of this is to respect the foundation of Interlachen, its history, its heritage.
It was the pinnacle of the golden age of golf. Members from Bryn Mawr were getting kind of tired of the crowds over there, the quality of the golf course, and they knew that Bryn Mawr wasn't long for the world anyway. There were two fellows who organized and did the deal with a farmer whose farm home was on the 13th tee, the highest point of the golf course. He owned the property on both sides of the road, and once the deal was done, they had to prove that they had the money. Took the streetcars out, which were way over there on the north side of the property. They got off the streetcars in the middle of the winter, and they trudged that gold all the way across the golf course, across the road, up the hill. They shook hands, they did the deal, and the farmer said, "I'm worried about keeping this gold here. Can you take it back and put it in a bank and then come and give it to me tomorrow?" So they had to haul it and trudge it back across the property and take the streetcar home, and the deal was done. They hired William Watson, who was barnstorming across the United States building golf courses. It was probably ready to go about 1911. By 1920, that golf course was gone. George Labatt, who was a very enthusiastic younger member, got himself on the board and really felt like there was more to the potential of a golf course here than what we had. And he had the foresight to lead the board on a campaign to acquire another 20-some acres of property. They acquired that, they hired Donald Ross, and Ross rerouted the whole golf course, got it done in a couple of years. And by 1920, we had a brand new golf course.
The history is so important because as you look at what's out on the golf course and knowing back in the day, the tools that they had to work with, it was not bulldozers, it was people, shovels.
One of our coolest archives here on property is the shovels. The shovels that we have down in the grounds building that were used to build our golf course.
Knowing how much work it must have taken to form these features, it just gives credence to how important every single mound, undulation, swale was.
That's where I think the Golden Age architects did such an amazing job, and Donald Ross at the top of the list.
The great architects were great because it was more than just tees and fairways and greens. There was strategy, there were angles, and I know Andrew will look to restore what Donald Ross intended.
These are antiques, and you don't paint an antique, you polish an antique.
History is important. You have it. That makes Interlachen one of the cathedrals of the game.
To have had a champion like Bobby Jones, how fortunate we are to be a part of that elite company.
I consider myself exceedingly lucky to have won this championship. And the second one is that I want to thank you all for the very considerate way in which you've all behaved this week.
The fact that Patty Berg grew up here, her mom and dad were members here. She learned the game right here on the same driving range as so many of our young players are learning the game. Patty then went on to found the LPGA Tour.
It's our DNA, it's who we are. We are a championship golf course that occasionally hosts significant national and international championships. We've had women's, we've had men's, we've had juniors, we've had seniors.
I remember the first hole of the tournament. I go, holy crap, this is the most people I've ever seen. And it was 4 or 5 deep going down the first hole.
Your past is full of these amazing stories and amazing golf and spectacular shots.
The home hole, Annika Sorenstam, third shot.
So I missed my tee shot, so I had to punch out. It's 199 yards, and it came off the club really nicely, and it was going in the direction I wanted. I was like, okay, that's good. And then, the ball landed and it bounced and it started to roll, and I could just hear, the crowd, the people sitting in the stands around the 18th green, and
Look at this. Look at this.
it was just this massive roar.
That's it. That's the way to finish it off.
I mean, the crowds were, was huge, and obviously the setting is spectacular there with the clubhouse behind it, and to finish up my last US Open on such a spectacular way, it was like you write a book, and that's kind of the ending that you would like to have.
It's great to have history, but it's important to write new chapters.
To see Interlachen hosting another major championship that coincides with the Men's US Open at Marianne, I think it's going to be an incredible, historic 2 weeks of golf.
I view it as a privilege for us to be on the national stage, but more than anything, to have a crown jewel shine a little bit brighter, to have some of the best players in the game walk this property and know that their memories and the memories of the patrons that are walking around here are going to get a chance to experience this place and talk about it like we talk about it is fantastic.
This is about to transform the Interlachen member, family, and guest experience.
When this project gets done, you're really going to feel the land.
I hope the membership sees that the golf course is going to feel of a certain vintage, a certain age, this handcrafted feel.
I'm excited to see the course the way people saw it a long time ago.
And the excitement that our team has about what's to come as well, that's pretty darn special.
I know Andrew Green. I've walked the fairways with Andrew Green. He is a magnificent talent.
You have a blank sheet of paper and all the dirt in the world. Could you imagine a piece of ground like this? How do you even contemplate it?
All these incredible things have occurred in our first 100 years. I think the best is yet to come.
This is a very special place. It's a special piece of land in a special community.
To stand on the first tee and just knowing what they have in store for them the next 3 or 4 hours is the best.
It makes me feel there's a sense of just serenity.
I have to tell you that I've been here for 60-some years, and every time I drive up, I'm more excited than the time I was before.
We're all fortunate to be able to call this place our home.